All right, today we have Joel, who's actually been one of, if not the longest client we've had. Well, when I say longest, I mean longest kind of high volume client. I remember when you first came on board, you were we didn't. I mean, shortly after we officially started on this fulfillment, and you were at that point, I think you was doing, I don't know, 100 or 200 orders a day. So yeah, you was like the first high volume client, and one of the first clients we had, and you're still with us today, and one of our best clients. So yeah, if you could just introduce yourself, obviously name, age, location.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. Hi guys, my name's Joel, and I'm part of a two-man team, myself and my brother, and we have a brand that we are a client of Phil's for. It's a brand in the kind of like agricultural pest control space, a bit of a strange one. But so yeah, like I said, myself and my brother started the brand around 2019, and we went through pretty much the traditional kind of. I think there's a lot of people that go through the stage of you figure out what drop shipping is, and then you realize it's such an incredible route to market to test, kind of to validate an idea. So then I believe at some point when you start getting certain order volumes, of course, then you need to take control of your own fulfillment. And that's when I came across Phil. I think it was in a Facebook group. I either saw him recommended or him himself answer someone's question, and then just got in touch with him kind of by chance from that. And then it's been the rest is history ever since. Really, we've grown quite a lot since then. And like Phil said, it was in 2019. Yeah, our order volume we scaled up so pretty high with Phil's team, and then since then it's been a great ride.
Nice. And for those who can't really tell accents, where are you from, Joel?
I'm from pretty much Sheffield, yeah, just outside of Sheffield, in a small town called Chesterfield in the
UK. And for those, it's funny. Once I went to Arizona and just stopped off a fuel station, or gas station as they call it, and I was with my other friend from the UK, and the lady at the cashier was like, "Oh, where are you guys from?" I was like, "London." And she's like, "Oh, where is that? In Washington?" I was like, I mean, God. For everyone watching this, if there are anyone whose geography isn't good, Sheffield's in the UK. So,
yeah, but
yeah, I mean, we'll get into the other details a bit later on with other questions. But yeah, it's just a brief introduction. So shortly after you joined us, you did, I think, your highest volume, and that brings me onto my next question. I know it's going back a bit, but what was your highest revenue month that you generated in terms of dollars?
I think it's around 700,000. Our business is extremely seasonal, so we have to, in the winter months, we have to just kind of sit and plan and then make sure we've got all the inventory. Well, now we've learned so much through those couple of years that you really need to plan forward in terms of inventory and stuff. So back in 2019, when that's slightly just before the pandemic hit, when things went a little bit stranger with being able to fulfill really easily from China. So we were easily able to just get Phil's teams help us out and get this keep replenishing stock and then ship stock directly from China. And I think it was near $700,000 for the month in June 2019. So that's the highest that we got to, and we could have gone even higher, really, looking back. So hopefully we'll be able to beat that at some point.
Yeah, I always use your nightmare Facebook example when somebody asks, and maybe we get to that at some point in one of these questions.
There's been a few.
Yeah, there was one in particular which was a real kind of nail in the coffin. So I mean, out of that 700K, what roughly was your profit margin?
I think we were operating around 20% at that point. This was also two people relatively like young to the game. We didn't understand how to maximize every single order in terms of average order value, and then also really nail our from the advertising point of view. So if somebody looked at our operation for that month, there's so much more margin that was left on the table in terms of we could have bundled our items, which we have done now. Now our average order value is around probably like 40% higher than it was in 2019. So can you imagine it would have just been, and now our advertisement creatives and we used, at that point we were only using Facebook, but now we diversify. So there was a lot left on the table, but it did still come in around 20%.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, considering that's still pretty decent. But yeah, as you say,
it's a good month. But I wish every month could be like that.
Yeah.
That's seasonality, of course. Every business is seasonal, I guess. Like when Q4 comes around, I'm always looking from afar when I'm scrolling through Twitter and I see everybody scaling up, having huge Black Friday campaigns. And I just think, we have to wait till like mid-June to hit our peak season.
But,
so I guess a lot of brands have it.
Yeah, the benefit, I mean, though, with especially now that you're kind of expanding and selling to or advertising to new markets, you do have, as you say, Australia, you can take advantage of their season, peak season, which is obviously different to halfway across the world. So yeah, although you can't kind of benefit all year round, you still have, it's not like it's only 2-3 months of the year that you can sell goods.
Exactly.
So I mean, I don't actually even know this. I've never even asked you. What was you and Sam's background before you started dropshipping?
I studied marketing for a couple of years at university, and then I dropped out. At the point that we were flipping things on Amazon and living in our mum's house. And the Royal Mail guy used to come every single day, and he used to think, "What the hell what have these guys ordered?" And there was like Action Men and Barbies and like Lego and Playmobil and stuff like that. That we'd buy it from, like, say, Argos, if Argos was having a sale, and then flip it on Amazon. So we did that for about a year, and it was a lot of work for not a lot of return. And in the background, we were always it's kind of Facebook groups that we learned from, where people were like teaching drop shipping, and then teaching from there. Of course, you try and learn actually the ins and outs of e-commerce and marketing and branding. So that was our background for the couple of years before. We were just students, I guess.
Oh wow, okay. So the Barbies weren't for you or Sam?
Well, we kept a couple behind, but most of them we tried to sell and try and make a little bit of a margin on.
So, okay, cool. So you didn't, I mean, from university, you literally started your own business. And I mean, you didn't actually get to the point where you started a 9-to-5. It was literally from being a student while running this on the side, and eventually you got into dropshipping.
Yeah, basically, you can kind of get the feeling from, of course, we both had jobs as well, and we just all, I think we were always of the persuasion that there's so much opportunity online that there's not really any reason to not be pursuing that and just go into climb a corporate hierarchy or something like that, which is kind of where you're being funneled into if you are studying a marketing degree like I was. But we're just huge nerds online, so we're always kind of following we got sucked into Amazon FBA, and then we got sucked into learning about dropshipping. So we're just always spending our time trying to discover what the next opportunity is. And then after coming across this one, we absolutely love e-commerce and marketing and building brands. So it's a fun game basically, but it was also a work for us.
Cool. So from your FBA, at what point did you kind of start or transition to dropshipping?
Pretty much at the point where if you kind of this is probably like 2018, and it's where you would literally take some really rubbish product before Facebook had a customer feedback score, and it was like the Wild West. You could take any piece of rubbish from China and sell it straight to your customer, and you're using some dodgy AliExpress supplier. It would take like 5 weeks to get there, but you could still make an advertisement and find a winning product. So at that point, then you realize how fast things can really scale once you do have a genuine product market fit and people want what you've got. And then from there, once you realize this is to scale this up, it's as easy as having inventory, being able to fulfill the logistics side, and then just increasing your advertising budget. That's the perfect formula. It's never that easy. But once you see the opportunity that there is there, then you realize that it's so asymmetric. You could put you wouldn't have to put kind of like, if you're working a 9-to-5, you have to put 40 hours a week in, and you're going to get X amount back. You know you're going to get paid that. But this is if you've got something that the whole world wants, then you can sell it to them with the same amount of work as it would be to sell it to kind of 1,000 people, to sell to 1,000,000 people, if you get what I mean. So it's chasing those types of opportunities that we try and spend our time on.
Okay, so was it shortly? So you said you started around 2018. Was that Amazon or was that actual dropshipping? From
that was probably that was drop shipping. We prior to that, we were probably from 2016 to 2018. We were messing around on Amazon, testing things out, seeing what works, kind of learning the ropes. And then 2018, I think that's when I remember me and Sam both used to test products all the time, and you just learn slowly over time. Of course, your advertisements and your websites, your conversion rate and things like that were never optimized in the slightest, but it's just over the years you slowly learn, and now hopefully we're kind of like full stack marketers that work inside our own brand to try and build it as big as possible.
Okay, and so from 2018, how long afterwards did you find that true success? I'm guessing it was with the current brand.
Yeah, it was. We were on it was a funny one. I think me and Sam weren't working together, but we were doing the same thing, kind of testing different things. And we were on a family holiday on a cruise, and Sam was on his laptop all the time. And he'd found the kind of the market that we're in now, and he needed help scaling it up and learning his way to navigate around Ads Manager. So I went and helped him out with his ads, and then from there he scaled to some, I guess, like reasonable volume, more volume than we'd seen before. And we just thought there's one hell of an opportunity here to really try and build a brand with recurring revenue every year. It's almost like a golden market for Facebook too, with the demographic that we target. So then from there, that's when we found you guys, and then it became a whole lot more legitimate. And so now that is the aim now, to build a recurring like annual purchase of a high quality product that really, really fits what the customer's looking for. So that's the most important thing that we're trying to build now.
Okay, so now we're getting on to what all the problems that you encounter. Well, not all of them. I mean,
we'd be here all
night. Touched on it at the start of our call. So if you had to choose, I know there's been many, but if you had to choose the most challenging or the most kind of damaging, so to speak, which would you choose?
It's definitely, for us, it's been maintaining a good Facebook customer feedback score from the point of view that our product is something that you're trying to eliminate pests with, or insects. So it's so kind of touch and go on there's so many variables to get it to work. So you need to test it in all kinds of different locations, test different the conditions matter outside, and whereabouts it's placed matters outside. So and this was just a simple product that we took from AliExpress. So the biggest learning curve for us is that R&D is the most important thing that we can reinvest our money in. So as young, naive people, I guess, who scaled up a business really fast, didn't realize this at the time, and then 2 years later, now we are really, really focusing on trying to make the best product possible for the market, and we are slowly getting there as well. So I think initially the biggest problem for us was navigating, being able to really, really scale out, because essentially they make your CPMs higher and you reach lower quality traffic. So in a huge period of which we were really scaling up in 2019, we were taken down. But of course, it's completely fair enough as well, because then that taught us the lesson that I'm not sure we would ever have we would have learned it, but we wouldn't have learned it so fast, that really we would never launch a brand now without making sure that the product is exactly what the market is looking for, and it solves the problem as best as it physically can. So it's a good lesson. And I think also, to be fair, I think probably COVID has been it has been even worse, because then the year after that, we had a breakout year in 2019. We didn't think far enough ahead in terms of logistics. We thought, oh, we'll be able to carry on doing exactly how we have, and didn't think about getting 3PLs anywhere. So I'm sure that slowed everybody down across the world for every brand. But that was pretty impactful. It kind of made us have to sit out a year almost, since we have to focus on probably 4 or 5 key months for seasonality.
Cool. So I mean, this is the follow-up question to what we just asked, but I mean, how did you resolve resolve that? I mean, obviously I know, and you're kind of working towards that, but what did you do from when you actually realized, okay, wait, you know, we need to kind of improve the product or invest in this development and stuff? So what in very briefly, what did you do to do that?
It's kind of if you just think about the entire life cycle from a purchase to actually using the product. Once somebody's purchased, then there's so many touch points that you can have in between them, in terms of follow-up emails and customer service teams that reaching out to them, making sure they're enjoying it, and if they're happy. If they're not happy, then what's the problem? So it's kind of addressing all the main common problems in terms of R&D, try and improve the product. Make sure you're providing clear customer support that they can easily contact you on any channel. Kind of, I guess we mainly just use email or messenger, but make sure that your customer service team is pretty much an expert in the field that you are, so that they can handle every type of objection when they come through the door. So, and I think those things immediately gave us a huge lift, which we weren't focusing on naively the year prior. And then it's just, I think it's just offering a kind of more branded feel to the end product. In terms, I think the days are gone where you can really send just a poor quality item with no brand feel or no unboxing or packaging type of thing, and then expect the end customer to be happy. It's the days, they did definitely last for a period of time, but now the whole space is so competitive that you're just not going to win like that. So it's think about the entire experience and solve the main problems.
Cool. Yeah. So just to summarize, I mean, you would say that you kind of neglected, you know, kind of product improvement research and just general brand progress for a period of time, and you're just, you know, you're churning out big numbers, and you just neglected the product and the customer experience, which obviously you're not doing anymore. But and I just want to kind of touch on this again, because it's really important. You know, when you have so much data, particularly you've got customers, and the majority of your customers actually are quality customers who are, I'm guessing, quite wealthy based on the niche and what they use it for. So and because you've got lots of different touch points as well, you've got, you know, companies pay millions of dollars every year to get this data back from whether it's marketing strangers on the street or cold emails or cold outreach. They do market research and they try to get as much data as possible for, you know, it could be for improving services or creating a service or creating a product for that target market. And this is the huge advantage. When you have that data, you've sold, you know, thousands of products to your ideal market demographic, then it gives you a huge advantage, because if you want to improve your own products or services, you can get an answer or kind of like a pretty accurate idea of what they want or what improvements can be made to your physical product or service, even if it's a digital service or even just your customer service in general. And that's a key component when you're going from, you know, drop shipping to a brand, or you want to actually, even if you stay drop shipping, you can still gain invaluable information. And you know, that's, I don't know how many you must have. I don't know. I'm not sure if you're close to 1 million kind of subscribers in your email list or anything like that, but it wouldn't surprise me by now. And that data is what is overlooked so often by e-commerce store owners. And even if you're not looking to improve the product or anything, you can always count on that data. You've paid for it. You know, they've obviously paid you for the product or service, but this is the whole reason why, you know, Facebook and Amazon, and they keep all this data, because it's valuable to them as well. So yeah, I mean, you've got access to that, and that's the beauty of Shopify as well. But obviously with Amazon, you don't have the customer data, whereas with Shopify, and that's the main reason why a lot of people switch over, is that you've got full control. Well, not full control, but a majority of control, and what you can communicate with them. So yeah, for those who are thinking of, you know, product improvement and research and development, that's where you should start from, because your customers are physically using your items. They know best, and they're going to tell you, you're going to have, if you send out a poll or an email or questionnaire, 99% of the time, especially if you've got the data there, they're all going to say very similar things, and it pretty much answers your questions. So I just wanted to make that clear, and hopefully it will help a lot of people who are in that kind of stage at the moment and deciding what to do and how to progress. So the next question is, I don't think this really applies to you because I don't think you target the EU, but back when the VAT regulations came into play, did it affect you in any way? Because obviously they had to put the VAT on top of sales.
Yeah, you're right. We do, for this company, we don't, since it requires kind of warm weather. I mean, I live in England, so I mean, there's not much of that. So we just kind of steer clear. We target mainly the USA and Australia, and then a couple of countries, maybe some volume to Canada. So really, I wouldn't be best placed to give an answer on how impactful that would have been on an e-commerce brand. But I assume quite a few people.
Yeah, you wasn't. I mean, you didn't sell anything to the EU, so it wouldn't affect you much. Same question: how if it did impact you in any way with the iOS 14 update?
Yes, and that's extremely difficult because I'm between myself and my brother. I'm the media buyer, and that's what I love to do. Really, I love to keep my ear to the street on the best ad buying strategies, and I mean, it's satisfying when you run a campaign and then you put X dollars in one end and then get like 3X out the other end. If that's in an ideal world, but to be fair, earlier this year it didn't impact us too much because people are still spending the same amount of time as they were before on screens. So there is still the real estate is still there. I think for us, where we have a really well-defined customer base, and we know exactly the demographic that we're going to target, it impacted us less. But we have another brand which is in a print-on-demand space, and that's got a really, really kind of niche target that it targets. It targets people in long-distance relationships, essentially. So we found that it was harder and harder to get in front of the people that you really needed to, I guess, and your ad dollars didn't go as far as before. So I think it became extremely important to have good margins and have make sure you got a good average order value. And just work on your unit economics. I think that was I guess iOS 14 will have killed a lot of businesses that were coasting along, just relying on how powerful Facebook's optimization algorithm is. And now the people that are left are people that really have honed in on, made sure every single cent or penny has been optimized in terms of their unit economics, getting it from production to landing at the customer's door. So it taught us a lot of lessons in terms of how to think about our each of our SKUs in that way. But I mean, your advertisement dollars are simply going to go, I guess they're just going to go less far, and probably you should expand through different channels. We're using a lot more Google now, which has benefited us massively because we were lazy just using, because since Facebook was so powerful and so smart, we never even really allocated much time to anywhere else.
Cool. Yeah, and then the next question, you kind of answered the next question is, how did you resolve those iOS 14 issues?
Yeah.
But as you say, this is not really fixing or finding a solution. It's just making you even more efficient. And I kind of guess the best analogy I can think of is if you've got like a rusty bucket and the water's the traffic, and you're pouring that in, and you've got leaks here, there, and everywhere. So yeah, it literally is you just trying to make as much money as you possibly can throughout the entire funnel, and optimize everything you can to whether that's optimization, or whether that's increasing average order value, and hopefully that will kind of counteract the CPM increase in CPMs and everything else. Cool. Exactly. Right. You've also kind of answered this question, but I'll ask you just in case you have any more. Which marketing platforms you use? So you mentioned Facebook and Google. Is there anything else you use, or that you're planning to use?
Yeah, definitely. We've recently found good results on Google Shopping, especially, and then different Google campaigns. We're testing a little bit on YouTube. We found that hard so far. Snapchat looks, we had decent early results on there, but just kind of find it hard to attribute. You're not really sure if the extra spend on Snap is always yielding like a lift in. We work mainly on MER to kind of to try and uses our North Star, which is marketing efficiency rating, which is essentially how much you spend and how much you return. So it allows you to look across all channels and see overall where you are. So we also would love to expand to TikTok, but since we're a UK listed company who sells predominantly in America, it seems like we can't access the American market just yet. I know that there are probably some black hat methods of doing so, but if we're trying to do it above board, where we've not been given access to the TikTok ad platform yet, but of course we will be expanding there definitely.
Okay.
And email is always king. Just make sure that you've got an engaged list, and also SEO as well. We've invested a little bit in that this year. I think we've got regular blogs being written like for most of this year, so we're building up a big plethora of authority hopefully in our niche that will next year when we come to season will bring a nice bit of organic traffic.
Nice. Okay, so next question is, again, you've kind of touched on this, but maybe you can answer it in more detail. Why did you make the transition to a fulfillment company? So you said you was using AliExpress. Why did you make? It's probably obvious, but if you could touch on it.
Yeah, I think at some point you just get to you really realize that we don't have much control. You don't really have much communication, and when your order volume gets to a certain point, a lot of things are going to break in terms of if your orders were getting shipped the next day, they might be getting shipped 4 or 5 days later as soon as you start bringing in any volume, and then you're not really sure whether the person that you're dealing with as your supplier is being honest. So there's just so much risk in terms of you could be running advertisements and selling products that you don't actually have in the back end being shipped out. So it's kind of eventually you're just going to need a good relationship with a company that is honest. And that leads us on. I guess that leads us quite nicely. Actually, I didn't actually even mean to use that word, but I guess that's why you got a good business name. But you essentially just need good communication with a reputable company that you can just simply deal with from the fulfillment standpoint, and then from there you can you just understand your delivery times and you see your stock numbers. It's just kind of like the logical next step.
Okay, and when you started looking for fulfillment companies, did you shop around or, Google research or anything like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. It's quite a while ago now, so I can't remember what exactly was happening. But I had a couple of calls with some certain people, and then they were telling me about I guess we were talking about fulfillment. And then that's when I came across you in a Facebook group somewhere, and then just contacted you, and then it just seemed like everything just seemed like the perfect fit, really, with how well you have such a good gateway to China, and you can bridge the language barrier so easily. So it's that was kind of why it was a perfect fit.
Okay, cool. I'm not going to ask the next question because you've answered it already. So, well, actually, the next 2 questions, you've already explained like what your long-term goals are, but is there, obviously, because Black Friday's around the corner, and you already mentioned as well that it doesn't really fit into your seasonal sales. But do you have any short-term goals aside from this?
Sorry, do you mean short-term goals in terms of what to achieve on Black Friday?
Oh, no, just in general, whether that's Black Friday or whether that's, generating sales this year or early next year, etc.
I think the main short-term goal for us is definitely, it's nothing attached to any type of revenue. It is simply just create the best product that exists in our market, whether it's across products on Amazon or across DTC brands like us. We just simply want to have by far and away the best product that people will buy 1 year and then come back and buy next year and tell their friends about, and people will be happy with. So once we get to that point, from there, everything else falls into place in terms of your business growth, and also being able to manage inventory well enough. I find that that's a very difficult part of scaling up fast when you're really seasonal, because you need to make a decision 6 months prior, and then things can a lot of things can go wrong.
Definitely. Yeah. So, and when you say about your short-term goals, and I'll kind of expand on this, because at the moment, what we're kind of helping you do is, so you've done, just to kind of explain to the viewers watching this, you started off with a generic AliExpress product, and you actually manufactured your own kind of option for the market. You were still selling that same variant, but you added something to your product line. And then now you're actually adding another, or not adding another, you're improving on the original item that made you a success, basically. So at the moment, that's what you're concentrating on, and obviously we're helping you to and what you've the kind of upgrades or improvements you're making, correct me if I'm wrong, are coming directly from not only your experience, but mainly from your customers, of what they've communicated to you. So, your short-term goal is to make this product as almost, you could say, as perfect as possible from your customer's perspective. And then from there on out, hopefully it will just sell itself. So yeah, I mean, that's what you're concentrating on at the moment, and we are too. We're kind of trying to get it turned around as soon as we possibly can. But as a lot of people may know, research and development and manufacturing new products does take quite some time.
Yeah, it's not easy.
So what's your next question? What's your plan for Q4? We'll ignore that one. So I guess in a kind of general, because everyone watching this, or the majority of people watching this, are probably kind of envious and potentially going on the same route. So they would kind of want to hear it from you of any like advice or recommendations from, when you first started out, doing this drop shipping, and then because you've gone through the kind of perfect transition, what everyone hopes to do when they get into drop shipping, have success, whether that's on one product or multiple products, then get to the point where you transition it to a brand, and then even go on to research and development and manufacturing your own products. So based on all of your experience and all of the issues that you've encountered and stuff, what would you give? I guess we can break this down into two questions. So first, what advice and recommendations would you give to those who were in your first phase of finding a product and scaling it up?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, because we are still doing that in the background. We kind of decided we need to spend some time looking for, because the opportunity out there for e-commerce is it's so huge, it's unbelievable. If you get product market fit once in your life, you're probably going to make a serious amount of money, either through the brand or when you sell the brand. So I think where to start is definitely different from where we started, but where we're spending our time looking now is for identifying a problem before identifying a product. Everybody wants to go out there and make a cool clothing brand. I've even tried it myself like 10 years ago or something like that. It's difficult. You need to be intuitive to that type of game. But I think where is best for myself to follow is making problem-solving products. So maybe there's something in your life that you're passionate about, in terms of like I play golf and things like that. Maybe you love football, and anything. Go down the route that you are passionate about and just think to yourself, is there any problems that aren't being tackled in this space? Or just look for what kind of direct-to-consumer products or brands have become prevalent over the last few years. And you don't have to actually even solve a new problem. You could take a problem that's being solved already and maybe go in the Amazon reviews and find negative reviews and find what customers aren't getting satisfied from a specific product. And you could go out there and start I guess, consulting with you guys and finding out how you could then create a product that would solve that extra little factor. And then suddenly, if you created that product, maybe you'd have the new best one in the in that space, and then you could bring the product to market. And so I think that's the best way to think about it. Start with a problem and either solve a new problem or solve a problem better than anything else out there. And then once you have and then that gives you the best base. You can't really market well an average product to success anymore. You really need to have the best product, and then good marketing will of course bring you success with your brand. So I think it's difficult. I mean, you can spy on other drop shippers and what people are testing and what people are scaling with. It's fine, but I think I think once you found a product, you can then go and see what else you could bring to market to once you found a problem, you could go and try and bring something else to solve the problem, maybe something new, maybe something improved.
Great. Yeah, that's excellent advice, and you hit the nail on the head, because everyone always, especially when it comes to dropshipping, everyone always thinks, oh, product, and always doing it, using these spy tools and stuff, but they fail to, they miss this completely, and this is the most important factor, of course. So it's great that you've mentioned that, because I don't think the calls that I've had to date have touched upon that. And the second question, like advice and recommendations, is based on those who are watching this who already have that, market fit. They've got a great product, and they're at that phase of where you were shortly after your, scaling to your highest numbers. So, what could they kind of look out for? What would you do differently when you was in that position?
Yeah, very easy. I think basically don't get silly and start paying yourself loads of money and buying or taking loads of money out of the company. Keep everything you can inside the company and just keep trying to turn over your product into something better based on your customer feedback, like I've mentioned a lot. And then also just cover all your bases in terms of your own channels. Spend a lot of time investing in your organic SEO presence and your email list, and make sure your brand is almost becoming an authority, I guess, in whatever space you are. An example I would use is Gymshark. They sell fitness clothing, of course, but they are also an authority in terms of people go to Gymshark's content to learn about exercising, about nutrition and things like that. So if you can corner that part of and that builds a moat almost around your brand. So if competitors come in, people will still find you and view you as kind of the authority, and it gives you more, I guess, reputation or more trust, and that's a good way to build your brand over a few years, and then eventually you can start looking towards exit. And I think that's it's so important. Don't just be the guy that makes advertisements to try and turn $1 into $2 on Facebook or TikTok ad platform every single day. There needs to be a huge kind of investment in email, SEO, or every platform, basically. Just wherever your audience is, you need to be there.
Cool. Yeah. So I mean, just don't get complacent and keep grinding away, and just try and expand the business in every possible avenue you can. And there's only so much one person can do. So even if that, and I use your brand as an example. When you saw that you had really great success and it was pretty consistent. For those who are running a brand and it's relatively new, they might not have that mindset where, all of the capital that they've made, that is and should be used to expand the business. So you should then start hiring talent, because you're not going to know how to advertise on new platforms or expand the business, or there's people out there who are so much more qualified than you, whether that's hiring a financial advisor or an accountant or whichever part of the business. You should be using that money to kind of as a catalyst to expand and boost your brand. So yeah, I just wanted to add that to it if it wasn't obvious.
Yeah, that's relevant to us as well. That's exactly the road that we need to go down. That's probably one of our next avenues. And so yeah, that is completely relevant to us. That should have been done a lot earlier than it has been.
Cool. Okay, and then we're just wrapping up now, Joel. Um, I don't think this is relative to you, but I'll ask it anyway. Do you,
Cool.
you obviously do your own media buying, and you guys do the majority of the things in-house, but do you offer any services, whether that is media buying or anything else, for anyone watching this that potentially want to contact you?
Yeah, well, I guess it would be. It's never been something we've actively thought about. The agency side and having your own clients has never really appealed to us, because we love our building something that's our own. But I guess, of course, if a project that was interesting came along, it'd be it's always a good experience to dive into other ad accounts, and because we have two brands that we work on, that I am in the media buying side there. So they're very different. So I assume seeing multiple different ones, more than two, would be even a great experience. And then, of course, hopefully we could offer some expertise to people should they want it. But I'm not sure whether it is something that we would directly want to spend our time on, because I always come back to the fact that I simply want to work on something that is in my own kind of
Sure.
domain of that I own. But I guess, yeah, it would be project dependent, I guess.
Cool, got it. Okay, well, I mean, that's it. I don't have any more questions. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you again, Joel.
Likewise.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Sam wasn't around to have the call as well, but yeah, I mean, we'll obviously speak again soon on the back end. But yeah, if anyone that has any questions or wants to comment, just do so in the video. And if you have any questions specifically for Joel, you can write a message there, and I'll try and answer them, or I'll just nudge Joel to see if he can reply to the question. But yeah, thanks a lot, and speak soon.
Thanks, Phil. Been a pleasure. Cheers.